Welcome to the first part of a series of videos on the new stats in edgeoffate. Here I'm going to tell you what the weapon stat does, try to figure out what you should even do with it, because this was originally going to be about why it's bad, and I've since found out that it's basically on par with the other good stats. So what does it actually do? From 0 to 100 weapon stat, it gives you an extra 10% handling and reload speed, which is a stat bonus and not a scalar, so therefore it won't actually affect anything if you already have 100 handling or something like quick draw, alongside a 15% damage bonus to red and orange bar combatants. When enhanced, which is a 100 to 200 weapon stat, it gives an increasing chance for ammo bricks to give more ammo, alongside a 15% primary/special and 10% heavy weapon damage bonus to bosses and yellow bars. So now knowing what it does, in order to test the effectiveness of the weapon stat, I decided to run a bunch of solo ops, mainly because they're quick and have decent ad density. Also, because we're using solo ops, I decided to run 3 runs with each setup and then calculate the average in order to give a fair measurement. As you need to keep in mind that solo ops have a bit of randomness with them due to the randomized ad spawns and side objectives. So starting off on K1 Logistics, our first run is with Solar Hunter with Nighthawk, 140 weapon stat and decent overall stats, which gave me an average runtime of 4 minutes and 6 seconds, with pretty good uptime on all my abilities. We then have an Ophidian Spade Solar Hunter with 200 weapon stat and lower overall stats, which doesn't make this an entirely fair test, as now I'm using a completely different build, but it was the only way to hit 200 weapon stat, and therefore that's what I'm running. Surprisingly though, despite being a generally what people would consider worse setup, it actually beat the Nighthawk setup with an average time of 3 minutes and 49 seconds. After that I went straight to a 200 superstats Solar Nighthawk build, which immediately had the problem of me not being able to actually use the 200 superstats 45% damage bonus due to the wizard boss's free health gates. So I switched to a young Ahankara's spine build with 170 grenade stat and 98 super stat, which annoyingly I got to after reset, so it switched from Hive to Fallen, so I switched to the Salt Mines, where I got a 4 minute and 35 second average on Ahankara's and a 4 minute 34 second average on Ophidian Spade. Now, I don't have any weapon stat armor on my Titan and my Warlock, so I can't really reach 200 weapons on either, but because it'd be a bit unfair to test it on only Hunter, I decided to at least give them a go with a lower stat. So, here is Peacekeepers with 142 weapon stat versus 130 melee and 154 super. 140 weapons got an average time of 4 minutes and 23 seconds, whilst 130 melee got 4 minutes and 13 seconds. Then on Warlock we have Verity's Brow with 100 grenade and 150 weapons versus Verity Brow with 170 grenade and 90 weapons. 150 weapons got an average time of 4 minutes and 23 seconds, whilst 170 grenade got an average time of 4 minutes and 30 seconds, which I felt was probably on me just running slower due to being in solo ops all day for that point. So with my day gone to testing this and not really finding out anything exactly useful, I decided to raise the difficulty and do one more run of each because it wasn't making anywhere near as much of a difference on these classes. So with 170 grenade stat we got a 5 minutes and 8 second time, whilst 150 weapons got a 5 minute and 23 second time. So overall in PvE I don't think it's really worth going full into the weapon stat, as although in lower level content it doesn't really make a difference. I feel the 60% grenade and 45% super damage increase are going to be more important than the 50% weapon damage increase and bigger ammo bricks. I do however think it's a good idea to at least build into it somewhat with around the 50 to 70 range or 70 to 90 range, depending on how many stats you actually have available in your build. In PvP though, I don't think it's actually worth to spec into it at all. Yes, whilst a 398 pulse rifle being able to 2-bust a neutral is incredibly stupid, by giving yourself the ability to do that, you also give up the ability to have a super during the trials round, have decent enough regen to be in constant engagement, which you usually are, and have near 100% uptime on all abilities because 68 in these stats is now effectively the old tier 10 stats. And as I said earlier, the handling and reload speed bonus are stats, so therefore, because anything that would really benefit from it is already going to end up having high handling, such as a shotgun, which will have closing time or quick draw on it. You're not really going to see anything from speccing into it, so therefore I just don't think it's worth it whatsoever. And I think you're better off just using 150 health and then putting everything else into your abilities. As frankly, with our 150 health, I feel I'm at a huge disadvantage due to the now incredibly slow health regeneration, to where most duels I would end up engaging with so much less health that the 2 burst was effectively just useless. So there is a look at the weapon stat. I'm hoping the other stats won't take all day to test, as I kind of did not enjoy running solo ops for an entire day. But if you at all enjoyed this video, please comment, like, sub, usual stuff, and add.